It's Friday night at massage school, and I'm teaching a class, and it's basically just a bunch of students getting together and working on each other. And so, you are awesome. And so I look at the roster, and I see this name, Margaret Ward. Now, I'd never met Margaret, but I'd heard about her. I knew she was really popular with the other students, and she was like a yoga teacher, something like that. And then behind me, I hear this, "Hi." So I turn around, and there's this girl, and she's all smiling and blonde and fit, and she says, "I'm Margaret. You're Kelly, right?" And I say, "Yeah." And she says, "Great." And then she proceeds to pepper me with a million questions about my business. Like, "So that therapist that you took over for, did you know her before? Did you buy her business? Are you working for the studio owners now? And how do you know them anyway? And what's your financial arrangement? Are you an independent contractor?" And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Inside I'm thinking, Yoga Barbie, you need to back the F up. It was a long night. A couple weeks later, I get this email from my lead teacher, because the new semester is about to start, and he says, "Great news. Guess who's going to be our intern for the next 6 months?" Yeah. And the 6 months after that, guess who ended up in the same continuing ed class as me? Long story short, Yoga Barbie, Margaret and I ended up becoming friends somehow. Actually, really good friends. And it was good for me. I mean, it was at a time in my life when I could use a good friend, because I'd been sailing some pretty stormy seas romantically. And if any of my exes are out there, I'm definitely not talking about you. It was actually Margaret who got me to see that I just needed to take a break from dating entirely. Just love me for a while. She was annoyingly right. It was the right thing to do. I actually felt really good, better than I had in a long time, until I got this email from a girl from my past. So a couple years before, she and I had this really exciting 6 or 7 weeks together, and then she got sent off to the Middle East for the CIA, because apparently that happens. And she was coming back to town. She kind of wanted to just pick up where we left off. So for Margaret's part, she'd had this kind of on-again, off-again relationship for years with this guy. And I knew from being her good friend that he really had a hold on her. And at the time, they were on again. And the dude was like poison ivy, wrapped around her heart. And every time she'd kind of hack him loose, he'd just sort of figure out a way to grow back. So Margaret and I get together for drinks one night to commiserate, as we did. And we're out front saying goodbye to each other, just with a hug. And I'm just thinking, "Oh, Margaret, she's such a good friend to me. I'm so glad she's in my life." And, without really thinking about it, I just gotta put my hand on the back of her head. And then she sighs, And all of a sudden, I just get this warm, fuzzy feeling like, no. Whoa, no. What? And I can tell that she feels it too, because we kind of pull away from each other at the same time and exchange these WTF looks. We say this really awkward and hasty goodbye. I jump in my car, and I'm sitting there, and my hands are clutching the steering wheel, and my heart's racing. And I'm thinking, what the hell is happening to me? And all I can hear in my mind are the voices of my gay friends saying, "You know the rules. Number 1, never date your friend's exes. Number 2, never go down on a stripper. And number 3, never, ever fall for a straight girl." And then my phone lights up, and I can see it's a text from Margaret. "I've been doing a lot of thinking in the last 90 seconds. I throw the phone down on the seat. I shove the car in gear, and I take off for home. And the whole time I'm thinking, no. Oh my God, what the hell is happening? How did my life just take a sharp right turn into a lesbian cautionary tale? And so I get there and I'm like, okay, I have to text her back, clearly. But I'm all lame and terrified, and so I write, yes? Truly. And so if I were to describe Margaret to you in terms of her favorite TV show / movie franchise, I would say that she's got the balls of Kirk and the logic of Spock. Case in point, she writes back, what was that and what are we gonna do about it? Kirk. Still lame and terrified, I write, To which she responds, I think we should come up with a series of options, discuss them, and choose one. Spock. The deal is we're each about to go out of town separately on vacation, and we had plans to get together the night before at my house and have dinner together. So she says, option A. We forget it. We go out of town, go our separate ways, and we just talk when we get back. Okay? Option B. We still get together, but somewhere public and safe. Right? Option C is we keep with our original plan. So we debate, we're texting about it. We don't know, so we sleep on it. We're texting some more, and we both agree that clearly option A is the most logical and rational way to proceed, so we choose option C. So we're standing there in my kitchen, and Margaret's like, leaning in the doorway, and she's talking about her friend's kids or something. I don't know, because all I can think of is, what the hell? That is my best friend. This is crazy. Everybody knows that rule number 3 is rule number 3 for a reason. It never works. The lesbian always gets thrown over for some guy. I even know the guy, it's Mr. Poison Ivy. No, absolutely not. And so I take a step toward her, and she could tell by my face that I'm about to say something really serious, and so she stops talking, and I kiss her. And she kisses me back. But it's like, in that moment, all of our questions are just amplified tenfold. It solved nothing. And the weeks that followed were just agonizing. We would get together and we'd talk, and it was mostly about what a crazy, stupid idea this was, and somehow we would end up kissing again. Plus, there is still the girl from the CIA. She's cute, she's single, she is gay, she's heavily armed, she's all the things that I normally go for in a woman. She doesn't do yoga. She doesn't quote Star Trek. And if she and I went to the grocery store together and the Jackson 5 came on, she would definitely not start singing and dancing in the aisle. Like Margaret. I know. It was crazy, but I just kept thinking of this line from the movie Love Actually. And so finally, I stood up and I looked in the mirror and I said, let's go get the shit kicked out of us by love. And I offered Margaret my heart. And I waited. And I waited. And then finally, Margaret said she had made a decision. she had been driving apparently and just thinking about everything, and she said it was like all of a sudden the sky just opened up in front of her, and she saw these two versions of how her life could be. And when she picked the one she wanted, right away she knew that it meant she had to take a chance on us. It was funny. At one point, someone asked Margaret what it was like to realize in her 30s that she's gay. She just laughed. And she said, I didn't realize that I like women. I realized that I love one woman. Margaret and I were together for 2 really beautiful years before we got married. Nine and a half months ago, she gave birth to our daughter. So the rules, if you're still keeping track, number 1, still a good idea not to date your friends' exes. Number 2, strippers, who am I to judge? But number 3, never, ever fall for a straight girl unless you just can't help it.